for the last few months. As soon as I heard about it, I had no questions. I said, "Yep, this is it." I saw it one time. I said, "Yeah, this is it." I continued to dive deep. I said, "I need to figure out how does this work." Right? I'm big on the business model. Like, how does this make money? Y'all know me. I just want to make. If it makes money, it makes sense. Right? So I'm like, it looks like it makes money. It looks like low overhead, and I'm obviously in a position where I'm consulting with estheticians for the last 3 going on 4 years about struggling in their suite and these finances that are kind of crushing them where they are. You have booth rent and inventory and the software that's actually running your business. Drop a 5 in the chat if you're in a suite right now and you could testify that, yeah, it adds up. Okay, it adds up. It adds up. That's all I'm saying is it adds up. The numbers they start to get real serious real fast. You feel? So as I'm consulting with estheticians for months on months and going on years, I'm trying to figure out how can I give them a better solution to help them where they are. Right? Obviously, I could help you get more clients. I could help you bring more people into the business. But what I realized, that was actually only the first problem they run into. Right? That's just the first problem they run into. The first problem is how to get more clients. Then you get all the clients, and the next problem is you're burnt out all the time. It's like, wait, now I'm always in this business. Now I'm always here. Now I can't make money if I'm not here. I'm making all this great income. I may not have the time to spend it, right? I don't have as much time to spend with my family, to go on vacations, right? To raise my children, if that's something that's important to you. So I was like, how can I find a better solution? I'm solutions oriented, right? And obviously, I'm not an esthetician myself. So there's only so much I could do. I could teach you the marketing, I could teach you the sales, but that was all I could do. So I heard about virtual aesthetics. I really saw it as an opportunity. I said, this is the solution, absolutely. And I couldn't understand why more estheticians weren't taking advantage of it. I looked high and low to figure out who was doing this successfully, because I wanted to figure out what are they doing and how can they duplicate it, because success leaves clues. I knew this wasn't the first time anyone had done it. And I'm like, who is doing this? And searching high and low, it seemed like no one was really talking about it. I was like, am I going crazy? Right? Like, am I tripping, or is this like the biggest thing ever and no one's really speaking about it, right? It's like the biggest thing ever, but no one's really saying that this is the path that they're taking. And I couldn't figure out why. So as I created the online esthetician, obviously bringing new estheticians in here and hearing the kind of things that y'all were interested in learning, that's actually how I came across our guest today. And I feel like I found a needle in a haystack. I'm like, wait, you're doing the thing successfully. You're doing the thing that I know for a fact is the thing, and you're doing it well. And I knew as soon as I met her that I had to get her on a call. I had to talk to her. And after talking to her, mind you, we had our first call last week. We were on the phone for 3 hours. Drop a 3 in the chat if you ever just hit it off with someone so crazy, right? You're like, oh my gosh. Like, not only does she get it on the business side, but she's cool. She's intelligent. She's funny. I enjoyed talking to her. The time passed, and I knew I wanted to get her in front of y'all as quickly as possible. I wanted to figure out how can I get her to share. I'm like, hey, would you be open to just being an example? A lot of individuals, if you haven't seen someone do this, it's hard to believe that you can do it for yourself, especially when there's so many questions that are unanswered and it doesn't seem like anyone else is doing it. Like, no one else is really talking about it. No one else is really doing it. So maybe it's not as lucrative. There's not as much potential, right? And after talking to Cristina one-on-one, I'm like, no, there is potential. It is as lucrative. It's just that no one knows anyone else that's doing it, or no one knows exactly how to do it. So my goal with bringing her on this call today was just to give you all like an example that this is absolutely possible for you, especially if maybe you're in a position where either you're in your suite and things are getting really stressful and you're trying to figure out what is like what's happening next, like what's going to be my next move, how am I going to do it, what is that going to look like, or maybe you're feeling a little bit nervous, right? You're kind of scared about what that might look like for yourself. So I'm really excited to bring Cristina on here to tell you a little bit about her story and hope you get not only some inspiration, some motivation, but maybe some insight as to what this could look like for you. So before I bring her on, I want to tell you a little bit about who you're going to be speaking with tonight. So Cristina is not just a virtual esthetician. She is extremely successful on social media. I actually had seen her page and I was like, wait, you're doing this in many different arenas. She's extremely successful, not only as a virtual esthetician and getting clients and having clients spending money with her and figuring out how to run an entire business from her laptop, but she's getting brand deals from skincare brands that are sending her products and sending her sunscreen and sending her moisturizers and allowing her aesthetics license to put her in position above a skincare influencer because she could really speak on the things that's going to help a woman with their hyperpigmentation, help a woman with their dry skin, their rosacea. And I was like, so you're not only doing this on the virtual aesthetic side, but you found a way to make money off your license in 2 ways, not just one? Two ways, not just one. As y'all told, as I said, I'm all about making money. If it makes money, it makes sense. And when I said that, I was like, oh my gosh, like this is someone that we absolutely need to speak with. So to give you all a little overview, she has 70,000 followers on TikTok, thousands of followers, constantly growing. She's not only a skincare influencer herself with an aesthetics license, but she is the top rep for her brands, right? Completely virtual. Out of 500 people that her brand representative works with, she is the top account. So if y'all are ready to hear from Cristina, hear the story, hear the transition, hear how it works, and hear how you can make it work for yourself, drop some fire emojis in the chat. I think y'all have emojis. If you have emojis, drop some fire emojis in the chat so I can make sure you're ready. I can go ahead and bring Cristina up here, introduce her to y'all, and get this thing going. So okay. Mariah's ready. Demi's ready. Batul's ready. Who else is ready? If y'all aren't all ready, that's cool. Oh, okay, y'all are dropping the little things on the thing. I don't know how y'all do this over here, but these little floating emojis are super cute. Okay, Frankie's ready. Bridget's ready. Andrea's ready. Okay. Styles is ready. Okay. If y'all are ready, let me go into the community and bring her up here so we can get into it. Allow audio and allow video. When y'all can see Cristina, drop a 2 in the chat. Drop a 2 in the chat when y'all can see and hear Cristina. Yeah.
Hi, everyone.
What's good? Okay,
Can y'all hear me?
perfect. I can hear you. They can hear you. Look at her skin, so beautiful. She's a product of the products. A product of the products. Oh, you just muted yourself again.
Is that better?
Much better.
Okay.
Amazing. Okay, perfect. Cristina, thank you for joining us today. How are you feeling?
I'm feeling great. I'm excited to talk to everybody, give y'all some tips, give y'all some real shit that y'all need to hear respectfully. I'm excited. Thank y'all
I'm
for
here.
being here.
Yeah, I'm super here for it. Thank you, Cristina, for being here, for sharing with us. And let's go ahead and get into it. So, I know you've had a suite in the past. I want to get into your story because I know you didn't just start up as a virtual esthetician. So, talk to me a little bit about coming out of aesthetic school and going solo for the first time and what that actually looked like for you.
Scary, terrifying.
Mm.
I would say I graduated in the thick of the pandemic. So a lot of spas weren't hiring. Ideally, I wanted to work under somebody for at least a year before I went solo, but just the cards were not in my favor. So bit the bullet, went solo. Went solo unsuccessfully. Closed my suite.
How
Pivoted.
long were you solo before you closed your suite?
I would say about 7 months.
Okay. When
Mhm.
did you know it was time to stop the in-person business?
When I wasn't making no money and I didn't understand my numbers, I didn't understand how to market, I didn't understand overhead, I didn't understand how to actually price a menu. I didn't understand nothing. All I knew how to do was a facial.
How did it feel when it was time to make that decision?
It was a hard pill to swallow, but I had to humble myself and accept I don't know what I don't know. And in order for me to learn the things that I don't know, I have to put this on pause for the time being because I don't want to keep going in the negative, keep going in the hole.
7 months. Honestly, I think, as I said, I've been consulting estheticians for a long time, and the reality is most estheticians don't make it to a year. And I think it's really amazing. It's even hearing that you can relate to the fact that those first, oh whoa, I don't know where you went. Oh, you
Oops.
good?
Oh yeah, I was trying to. There we go.
That's so true. It's a struggle. Who else can possibly relate to that, right? Maybe you're still in your first year and you feel like maybe you're in the struggle right now, right? And
Mhm.
it's very, which is not uncommon. The fact that, mind you, we're talking to Cristina today, so clearly we bounced back, but it's
Something
not.
happened.
Right. 6 months in, okay, copy, right? Set. It's very common that in the first year, like it's really struggling to figure out what does it take to run the business because aesthetic school prepares you to be an esthetician, not necessarily an entrepreneur. And after you close the business, what was your next decision, and how did you even hear about going virtual as an option?
I feel like I had always known there's always whispers, in the community about virtual, but I didn't understand fully what it entailed. So when I did decide to close my business, I pivoted back into the field that I was working in prior to becoming an esthetician, which was tech sales. So I went
Mhm.
back into tech sales for a few years before I made the transition to fully virtual.
Okay, and then in the time, how much time were you like just not doing any aesthetics before you're like, you know what, I'm gonna pick up again?
I feel like I was always doing something related to aesthetics. So if I wasn't servicing clients, I was taking that time to actually learn, further my education. I spent a lot of time reading books. I tell a lot of people because at that time I didn't really have money to invest in continuing education. So I tell people, if you're learning something, you're trying to master something, you're either going to pay with your time or your money or both.
Mm.
So I didn't have the money at the time. So I was spending time just learning while I was working corporate. Hated it. Corporate was not for me, but I did what I needed to do to get to my next phase of life.
In terms of continuing education and books, what do you think was most impactful at that time in your career?
Um, Honestly, I feel like there was never one singular resource. I feel
Mm,
like me being resourceful, if there was like a hot topic on the internet, let's say hyperpigmentation. Okay, for that period of time, I would learn as much as I could about hyperpigmentation. I would Google, fact check, reference. So just I would say the internet is a wealth of knowledge. So I would say I was everywhere with it. I was on Inky Decoder learning more about ingredients. I was following other estheticians that I looked up to, dermatologists,
mm.
cosmetic chemists, all other our colleagues in the field that have a different viewpoint on the skin, so I could learn different perspectives and different point of views.
I love that even while you weren't practicing, you were still practicing, gathering the
I
knowledge
got
so
to
that
keep that mind sharp.
yeah, keep that mind sharp. I love it. And then of course making sure you're still using all the things that you've learned and building on it. So you're taking the time, even the 2 years where you're working in corporate, but you still had aesthetics in the back of your mind.
Absolutely.
When did you know it was time to pick up and actually officially take your first virtual consult?
Um, when I started slacking at work. So my background is tech sales. So, you got your numbers you got to hit. And when you ain't hitting them numbers, you're having conversations. So I got to a point to where I just physically could not do my work. Like I was
Mm,
so, it was just, y'all know the struggle, like just at a job that's not fulfilling. Like it may
mm,
pay well, but I was not fulfilled. I just kept being called back to aesthetics where my heart is, and my social media was growing. Like I had a social media that was blooming while I was working. So honestly, I got put on a PIP at work. For anyone that doesn't know, that's a performance improvement plan. So they were like, you got 90 days to hit this metric and you got to hit it every month for the next 90 days. If you don't hit it, we're going to respectfully part ways. So I said, okay. I prayed on it. I said, if this is a sign that I need to focus on my business, on content, please give me a sign. The very next day, I got booked. I got a brand deal with TikTok Shop. So I was like, all right, loud and clear. So for those 90 days, I was slowly making my exit, getting my infrastructure in place. And then
mm.
when it was time for us to part ways, I was ready to go.
Yeah, not put me on a pip.
Yeah, they
Okay,
tried to
be
light
like
the
that.
fire. I said, little do y'all
Okay.
know, I'm not about to be here. But
Mm,
that was really my sign, and asking for confirmation. And actually, when I got it clear as day, when I got that check, I said, okay, this is where I need to
mm.
be.
In those 90 days, even though you feel like you got the confirmation you needed, do you feel like you were still was there any fear inside or any nervousness about the leap that you were taking?
Definitely, because it's kind of uncharted territory, especially like
Mm,
the aesthetics industry is very, I don't like to use the word archaic, but that's the best way I could describe it. It takes a while for the aesthetics industry to be progressive. So I was nervous, but I believed in myself. I believed in all the time that I had been learning. And I was just like, fuck it. We just gotta go for it. And
mm,
also I will say, because I was working in corporate, I had almost a year's worth of expenses saved up. So I had the grace to
mm,
make a little bit more mistakes than I did in the past when I just went straight out of school into a sleep. So I did have a cushion. So I had a little bit more time to figure it out, I would say.
mm. Okay, no. Whenever you were even approaching it, whenever you think about the things that you were even nervous about, what were you most nervous about as it pertains? Was it mainly like how like getting the clients or talking to the clients or getting the skincare or if it was gonna work out? Where do you feel like your mind went in those times?
Well, because I specialize in acne and hyperpigmentation, I was nervous because with acne, you're taught in school, at least, like the facials is what's going to get them clear. So I'm like, how can I clear these people from my couch?
Mm,
But like I said, I was just like, F it, I got to figure it out. And we figured it
yeah.
out.
Yeah, I'm sure there's some acne specialists in the chat that could probably relate because it seems especially when you're always taught that in school. I think as like, I talk to more estheticians, it seems I don't know what school is preparing y'all for, but I
To be
haven't seen
workers.
much prep.
School
Okay.
teaches you to be a worker and to work for
Mm,
other people. School doesn't even teach you how to be an entrepreneur, how to be successful solo. At least where I went, and I'm sure this is the experience for many estheticians here, we're taught how to be a worker, how to be a good employee, not how to be a boss, how to own a business, how to think outside the box.
so those 2 years you were away, you kind of spent the time like gaining your own knowledge in general.
Mm.
School teaches you to pass the exam. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, copy.
Yeah, after
Now,
that, you're on your own.
yeah. Talk to me about your first virtual client. How'd you get them? How'd you prepare? How did it go?
Honestly, it was on TikTok. So, like I said, I was building my social media, just giving, I post a lot of educational content to kind of just educate the everyday consumer. Y'all would be surprised how much people do not know about skincare. No matter how many products they use, they truly, there is a lack of understanding about skincare routines, how to treat your specific concerns. And that's where we have the opportunity to thrive in the virtual world because it's about educating. I know people don't know what they're doing when it comes to skincare. So I got my first client off of TikTok Live. So I was on TikTok Live. I did free virtual consultations for the first 6 months, I would say. So I would do a free consult. They would book. We would do the consult. I would ask them, what are your concerns? Talk to me about what you've been experiencing with your skin. What are you using? What have you tried in the past? So I would say just asking a lot of questions. And then when it was time to sell, I'm like, all right, let me put on my big girl panties. Let me really, because we're everyone's scared to sell, but
Mhm.
everyone's asking to be sold too. So why are we scared to sell?
Absolutely. Honestly, I want to touch on that, but let me talk to me about you're saying 6 months of free virtual consults.
I
Why?
did.
And what did you learn in that 6 months that made it worth it?
Those 6 months, I perfected my consultation flow. So you just gotta get the reps in. So I knew that if I started charging for my consultations personally for me off bat because I didn't transition back into it with the clientele, people are going to be like, well, who the hell, like, why the F am I going to pay for a consultation? But when they hear the word free, it's like their little tail wiggles and they're
Mm,
like, okay, let me see what she's talking about. So it was kind of like a no risk for them.
mhm,
So by the time they got on the consultation, I would say I would just perfect. I would tweak my script. I would notice themes that were coming up with a lot of these clients, like the main things that they're talking about. And then I would just level with them. Like I would just talk to them like a regular person, talk to me about what's going on. So I feel like those 6 months were fundamental for what I've built now because I was able to really put in the reps without worrying about getting a client. It's easy to get a client when you're offering some free shit,
mm.
honestly.
No, valid. Honestly, you're right about the reps. Honestly, I've met a lot of individuals that are just thinking about it for years and they're considering it. And it's like, hey, if you would have
Hmm.
put 2 years into just like trial and error, like you would have absolutely got to the point where you feel more confident because consistency creates confidence. Once you have the reps, you get more
Absolutely.
confident. And of course, it's free consultations, but everyone gets sold to on the call. Yes or yes.
Absolutely.
Right.
Everyone's getting sold to.
Everyone's getting sold
I
to.
don't care if your concern is under eye bags or under eye wrinkles. You have a concern. You have some type of concern. That's why you booked the consultation. So I'm going to give you the solution. And in that
Mm,
solution, I'm selling. But I don't talk about products. I don't talk about routines. I don't talk about price until the very end of the call because that my consultations are usually 30 to 45 minutes. So in that
mm,
entire time frame, I'm asking questions. I'm connecting with you. I'm
mhm,
just really understanding what your journey looks like so that way I can present the solution. If you come on the call and you just start selling, they'll be like, you just like these influencers. So I ask a lot of questions and then I sell.
that's so valid. You're just like these influencers are so valid, right? In a world where everyone's trying to sell someone some other skincare, like even taking that time to ask them like what's going on is absolutely so valid. And when did you actually what made after the 6 months, when did you decide, okay, it's time to start charging? It's time to start charging for the consult.
When the results started coming in, I started getting those before and after pictures. I said, okay, I really know what I'm doing for real. So I
Mm,
feel like that kind of was very affirming to I can do great work with my hands, but I can do better work with my mind. So just really taking your expertise and I always tell people try and just teach someone one level below you. You don't have to take someone that has no skincare knowledge and bring them up to speed on everything that you know. Just think about how can I help the person one level below. And so when I started getting those before and afters, and I saw how quick I could clear acne, and I don't position my acne expertise as how quick I can clear it, but I clear acne pretty quickly.
mm.
Because 80% of the work is what they're doing at home. So once I really understood like what I had to offer, that free consultations went away. They were
Like,
gone.
right. Hey, you're gone. No, valid. And honestly, as you said in the beginning, you're like, you also need to build up your own confidence. And you're like, you kind of
Mhm,
like, wait, I know who I am. That's like, wait, you got to pay for this in the first place. And then, of course, still
mhm.
selling products. So now it's really like building the business. Now, when did you know you'd made it? when you're like, no, this was the right decision. You like, okay, you boom, you did it 6 months virtual, and now you're getting results. But when did you realize that this is probably like the best business decision that you had made?
I would say honestly, when I would get messages from my clients, like one client already promised me her first kid, like her left arm. She was like, I owe you so bad. And I'm able to really have an impact, a positive impact on women's confidence. Cause when you have, I'm acne prone. I used to deal with acne really bad. So I know how I felt. So I just kind of put myself in their shoes. And so just being able just to see the change and even their energy on our calls, like when we would first be on a call, they would be on the call crying to me. And then by the
Mhm.
time we get to their skin to a really good point and they understand their skin, it's just like the light just returns back to them. So that's when I knew I was really on something because I was able to help someone that was needing help, but not limited to a mile radius because I'm in Atlanta. I don't only treat people in Atlanta. I'm able to help someone in California. I have a client in Alaska. I have some in Colorado. So when I was really able to impact people's lives without ever touching their skin.
Now, what do you have to say to the person that's like, well, why would they buy skincare from me? Like, why would they want to do this for me? How am I gonna sell this online? They like that just can't really that even though they're
Hmm.
hearing you and they're seeing you,
Hmm.
they're still just thinking like, I don't understand why someone would want to do this virtually. If I can't put my hands on them, I don't see that this makes sense. What would you say to that person?
I would say they're going to buy skincare anyway. So you
Mm,
got to put yourself in between them and the influencers. Like, think about how confused I know how confused I would be if I was on TikTok, on the internet, ChatGPT, not knowing anything about skincare. They're asking to be sold to. It's just the way that you sell it. And then you're the expert. They already have more trust in you than the next person. So if they're buying from people that they technically don't really trust, what is to stop them from buying from you, who's an actual licensed, seasoned expert?
mm. And just to understand about like the business in of itself, okay, what
Hmm.
software allows you to run this business? What do you need on hand versus online? What things are required for you to actually run this business consistently?
In my opinion, a CRM for sure. A CRM,
CRM
you need
is
a place for all of your clients to land. That's how you can run your email campaigns. That's how you keep track of everything. Since I work with acne, I have check-ins, so I can track like, are we on their 2 week check-in, 4 week, 6 week? Are we in their maintenance phase? That's how I just keep all that information. I personally use Monday. I think it's very user friendly. So I
mhm,
would say a CRM, e-commerce, we can't get around that. I use Shopify, love
mm,
Shopify down. You need a way to send them their invoices where you own your customer data. So I love Shopify. And
mm,
then for booking and charting and tracking progress, I use Aesthetic Record. It's technically an EMR, but you can use it virtually because after each appointment, you can add pictures. So you can add in their progress pictures, add in notes. You can build treatment plans in there. And
mm,
even with Aesthetic Record, after you're on the platform, well, actually, for Aesthetic Record and Shopify specifically, Aesthetic Record, once you're doing consistent numbers, they will offer you capital. So you could use that to expand your inventory, transition back into a suite if you choose, continuing education. That's what I use mine for. And
mhm,
Shopify, same thing. After you have some consistent months of sales based on your average, they will also offer you capital. No
mm.
credit check, nothing. They go based on strictly your numbers through their platform.
Okay, so you say
Hmm.
Monday.com for the CRM,
Hmm.
Aesthetic Record for the EMR,
Hmm.
Shopify for the e-commerce, and
Hmm.
and that's the
Also,
biz.
Google Workspace or Zoom to actually host the video calls.
Okay, and
I
that's
like
the
Zoom,
biz.
but Zoom is a paid one. So if you want to go free, I would invest in Google Workspace so that way you can have a branded email. You
Yeah.
can keep your documents. Like just Google Workspace Hub is great.
Absolutely. I do love Google Workspace. So I'm
I
a
do like
vouch
it
for
as
Google
well.
Workspace. I love Big G. Okay,
Mhm.
and that's the business. That's like all your overhead and no one nothing else. No products that you keep
I
in your back
don't
living room
carry
that I'm
any
not seeing.
inventory.
Okay. Never have,
No
never will.
inventory in the future, but right now the companies that I work with drop ship. So
Mm,
a lot of aesthetic brands are adapting that model. So I would say focus on a brand that does drop shipping first until you get to a point to where you can invest in inventory and not have it sitting on the shelf, have it aging. And then it makes the shipping process a lot easier too, because I could be, let's say I'm traveling and someone orders products. I could put the order in real quick, add their tracking number and be on about my day. So I for the
mhm.
past year and a half, almost 2 years I've been doing this, I have not carried inventory.
Bars. traveling and
I
running
hope
your
y'all are
business.
listening, y'all. It's easy. Y'all just gotta get in the field. Get in the field, y'all. I promise you. The door is wide
Yes.
open and there's nobody stepping through it right now. Like
Mm,
like Trinity and I agree. We don't foresee this being a big thing for like the next 5+ years because the aesthetics industry as a whole is very old school. But
yeah.
this is a new way of doing things, a new avenue, a new revenue stream. There's so many different streams that you can build from your expertise alone,
Mm.
not outside the treatment room.
And Christina, why do you think that? I know why I think no one takes advantage. I want you to give yours first. I'm gonna give mine. Why do you think that most estheticians don't take advantage of this, even though they may have heard about it the same way you did a while back? Why do you think everybody still takes the sweet route, or and never really considers virtual aesthetics for so long?
Because it's so new, there's no clear path. So a lot of people are afraid and wondering if they're making the right steps, but you just got to be quick on your feet. Okay, we take this route, it doesn't work. Okay, we got to problem solve and try something else.
Yeah,
So the path is easy. There's just no clear path. The path is honestly what you make it. So a lot of people have that fear, but I will say there's people less talented. Like, when you think about a skincare influencer video that you see, they're speaking of claims that don't make sense, but people are still buying. So if they can do it and you have a license and you have expertise, why can't you do it?
absolutely.
You just got to get in the field. You just got to start it and then make it perfect later.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. Perfectionism really is like everybody's it's really at the fear of taking
Mhm.
that leap. And especially since what I believe in terms of like life, if it's I'm really think if everybody's doing it, it probably is because it doesn't work, right? If everybody is going and getting out of school and going straight into a suite, it's like there has to be something about that model. If it seems simple and it seems easy to start, it's because it's not as simple and it's not as easy to start.
Mhm.
It's not as easy to maintain because nothing is
And
as
it's
simple
not cheap.
and it's
Not
not cheap.
cheap.
Never has
The
been, never will
overhead.
be. And it's
Mm-mm.
really hard to work yourself out of that business model, right? Whenever you do all the
Mhm.
facials and you do all the things, it's like now it's really hard to work yourself out of that business model, especially when people come for you, as
Mhm.
opposed to, and then now you're there. Now, obviously, you built a lifestyle to where you can have the time freedom in addition to building. And of course, you're selling products which don't really require you to hold them. Tell me
Mhm.
how it felt when when you got your first reorder from a client that you had consulted with.
I was like, what was I thinking? I was like,
Bro,
shit,
bring me
it's
there.
a lot
Walk
of
me through it.
money.
Your kid
I think I looked at my
play.
phone and I saw an order and it said the amount and I looked at it, I said, "Who is this?" And then I saw the name. I said, "Okay, she
Mm,
trusts me." Because it's one thing to make the initial investment to try something new, but to come back. And this was a client that I hadn't seen for maybe like a couple months, just because of her own personal reason. She had to stop doing check-ins, but she still kept up with her product orders. So that's when I knew, like, okay, you understand how I treat skin. You trust me to treat your skin virtually. Never met me a day in your life because you're continuously repurchasing your products every 2 to 3 months. So it felt good. I said, oh, okay, I could get used to this.
yes, and even the idea that someone's reordering and now they don't need to go on social media and find skincare products.
Hmm.
And of course they're finding you on social media. So social media is basically the top of your funnel. Take me to the top of funnel. What kind of content do you feel is allowing people to go from I've never seen you before to I'm actually
Hmm.
gonna pay you and buy skincare products from you on this
Hmm.
call? Like what is it? What is the content that's allowing people to have that kind of trust in you?
I would say I focus heavily on educational content. I do talking head. I barely do a voiceover.
Mm,
They say for people to buy from you, they have to know, like, and trust you. So
mm,
majority, I would say 90% of my content is literally me sitting down face to face, taking complex skincare terms or fundamentals and making them digestible for the everyday person. So I can make a video simplifying how to choose a hyperpigmentation serum, what ingredients are best, what they actually do to the skin. We take a lot of the clinical language out of it. Like I'll even say dark spots. Sometimes I don't even say hyperpigmentation. So really just
mm.
educating people so that way when they come and consume my content, they feel like they're leaving with something, whether it's a gem, knowledge, something they didn't know before. And I feel like building that trust makes it easy for me to convert a viewer to a lead and then a lead to a client.
Absolutely. And actually, if everyone, I just dropped her TikTok in the chat, just so you can go back after this call and go get context. So make sure you save her TikTok. You go follow her so you can go see exactly like kind of like what she's talking about, so that you can even because maybe if you never seen her talk to TikTok, you never know. But I do think as I've watched her content, And knowing what I teach other people about content, I'm like, this is how it should
Mhm.
be. This
And
is
say
how it should
something controversial too, honestly. My page blew up in 2023 during the Dial Soap tea tree oil vitamin E trend.
be.
And then, they were telling me you don't know what you're talking about. So you have to get comfortable with people challenging you. But when that video blew up, I posted that video at 3 o'clock in the morning, went to sleep, didn't think anything of it, woke up, spam comments. She's not a dermatologist. She only
Mm,
went to school for like 80 hours. She's mad a
mm.
bar of soap is gonna put her out of the game. So you have to just have thick skin because I stood 10 toes down on what I said. And then from there I kept that momentum going by continuously posting videos because I was getting a lot of eyes on my page. So I just
Right.
kept posting and then my page just grew.
Absolutely. I think there's so many estheticians that I will train. I don't want to say that because the aesthetics community is going to be in my
Fuck
comments. I said,
that.
and then what?
Say it.
I said, and what?
I have more
Right?
everyday people in my comments than estheticians. The
Mhm.
esthetician industry can be very catty, so I choose not to participate in it. I'm not in very many esthetician group chats
Mhm.
just because I know how my mouth is, but I know what I know and I'm confident in what I know. So I don't have to prove it to the next person. All I have to do is prove it to my clients.
Absolutely. I love a little controversial piece of content. Anytime
Mhm.
I believe my biggest thing is like, hey, draw a line in the sand and be hey, I'm standing over here. And you're gonna
Stand
bring
on it.
people, yeah, you're gonna bring
Mhm.
more people that agree with you and then you're gonna push the wrong people away. I mean, it's amazing.
Exactly.
You took that momentum, you just remained consistent after that.
That's y'all just got like I'm saying, y'all get in the field and put your reps in. It's very easy. You just have to be consistent.
Mm. And whenever you get a client on a consultation, how do you go about deciding how many products to sell them, right? Are you like, "Oh, okay, I'm just gonna like give them a cleanser," or is it like I'm gonna throw a toner in and see what that does, and try to sell them another product next month, or where how do you approach the amount of products that you're giving a client at once?
Well, since I focus mainly on acne and hyperpigmentation, I don't feel like there are many drugstore products that can really address their concerns in a quick manner. So when I'm selling, I'm going all or nothing. I'm selling a full routine,
Oh, how was it? Okay, so everything you tell them to
everything.
toss out everything you knew before
Cleanser,
this,
I don't tell them to toss it out. I'll
right?
say that these are the products that are really gonna help move your skin in the right direction. Once we get your skin clear, we can be a little bit more lenient. So they'll walk me through the products they're currently using. I'll say, throw that away, put this to the side. We'll revisit this in a couple months.
Mm,
And then but on the call, like I said, I'm building trust. I'm not selling until the last 10 minutes of the call. So
right.
by that time, they're bought in. I'm repeating back what they say to them. Okay, your concerns are this. Your concerns are this. Okay, what have you tried in the past? Have you worked with an esthetician before? I explain to them my process, and then at the end, I sell. And then I think what helps too, which is why y'all need to get an e-commerce site, is I offer afterpay and shop pay, so they can break down the payments for
Mm.
for their routine if they choose. So it's not a big kind of like pill to swallow all at once for them to get started with you.
Absolutely, because honestly, as long as you get all the money up front, what they do with Afterpay is their business, right?
That's
What
their
they do on the
business
back end is their business,
because
right?
I want to get them clear now and not
Yeah.
later.
Absolutely, and of course, it's like even the asking the question is really a lot of y'all are focusing more on like the skincare products, but you're selling them the transformation. You're selling them a
Mhm.
transformation. You're not just selling them a cleanser. You're not just selling them a toner. You are selling them clear skin. And when you sell them clear skin, they're willing to pay the price. So you're a lot. I think a
Mhm.
lot of people are in their heads now. Tell me a little bit about the lifestyle. What does your week look like now that you're mainly virtual, and
Mhm.
how has that changed the way you live your life?
It's definitely changed it for the better. All I need is my computer and Wi-Fi and my phone. So I only work Wednesday to Saturday, 12 to
Mm,
5, 12 to 6. So I have time freedom. I can take the first 2 days of the week off and do other admin stuff because I do also still make content. I've been slacking lately, but
mm,
I have just freedom to do what I choose. Pour back into myself, not feel burnt out. Because once of course we're all passionate about the industry, but once your passion becomes your only source of income, it takes a lot of the fun out of it. So I know that schedule works for me with balance because I'm naturally very introverted. So after talking for so long, I get like worn out. So
mm.
that schedule works the best for me. But Wednesday to Saturday, like 12 to 5, 12 to 6.
And how do you keep your clients consistent over that long period of time? Like, how do you keep them? Obviously, you can't force them to do anything. So, what do you do to
Mhm.
encourage consistency over the time period that you're working with them virtually?
It all starts with that consultation, y'all. That's why you gotta take your time on the consultations, not rush. I give myself 45 minutes. I can usually wrap up in 30, 35. But
Mm,
After they talk to me about all their concerns, what they're doing, I explain to them what they should be doing instead, what the process looks like, how I work to my clients. So I say, I like to meet with you every 2 weeks, every 2 to 3 weeks in the beginning, so we can assess your skin. I can answer any questions you have and I can adjust your routine. And then that way they feel supported, even though they're not coming to see you in person. So I tell them up front, this is how I work with my clients. And then
Mm,
so it kind of like helps me gauge their commitment level. But
yep.
I really only work with people who are serious. Like if you come here with frou frou, oh, can you? No, I'm very firm about the type of people that I will work with because compliance is the key to them actually feeling confident in their skin. So if they're
Yes.
not compliant and we're virtual, it's just not a good mix. So I'm very upfront about how I work with my clients, and so they can
Absolutely.
kind of take it or leave it. And then after I sell them on the routine, I don't require them to pay for the routine on the call. I say I'm going to send you an email summary, review everything, let me know if you have any follow up questions. Very seldom do they have follow up questions, but very often do they pay that invoice.
Very often.
Very often do they pay
Love
that invoice.
it. And, I like how you said it because realistically, I think a lot of y'all need to realize that they need you, not the other way around. You set the
Hmm.
standard for how we work together, what it's going to look like to work together, what I expect out of you to make this work. I'm willing to do this. Like, hey, I can do this, but this is basically like this is what you're going to be doing to make
Hmm.
yourself successful. And in terms of okay, so they leave the call, they have no follow up questions, they have the skincare, you do the follow up. What type of information do you supplement them with just in case they have additional questions?
I would say I have a whole template. That's why y'all need a CRM because you can have built-in templates so you're not writing every single email from scratch.
Mm,
So I have a summary email that I send within like the 5 minutes after we wrap the call. I let them know I'm going to send you a summary email within 5 minutes. Just give me a second to put it together. So the summary just kind of reiterates how my program works. I put a list of all the products that I recommend for their specific routine. And then at the very bottom, I give them a quote that's highlighted. So I say, whenever you're ready to check out, just click this link. With Shopify, you can create kind of like an invoice type of thing. So once they click the link, it'll add all of the products for their routine into their cart automatically. So they don't have to go search for everything. And then it's kind of like a seamless checkout. So I'll say
love.
all the like I give a summary. I send a summary email within 5 minutes after we wrap the call.
Amazing. And where do you see this? What's your goal in the future? You mentioned you want to do inventory. Do you see inventory as when you really want to scale this into like the next level of virtual aesthetics for yourself?
I do, just because there are some really cool skincare lines that are coming out that don't have the drop shipping model. So eventually, I kind of want to be not a one stop shop for all skincare, but I want to be a very a great option that's coming from an expert in the field. You know the face behind it. So yeah, and just continuing to grow. And I'm also transitioning back into a suite part time, honestly, just for the
Mm,
love of the game. I love doing facials, so bulk of my business will still remain virtual, and then I can do my in-person facials because I want to, not because I need to.
copy. So you went from having a suite for 7 months, wrapping that up, taking
Mhm,
2 years going corporate, being virtual for 2 years, and now you see yourself stepping back into a suite. Can you talk to me a
mhm.
little bit more about that?
Yeah, I feel like stepping back into a suite now, having clarity about how exactly I want to work with my suite. When I first opened my suite, I was trying to offer every service under the sun. And now I'm more specialized. And now I don't even see myself being in the suite 5 days a week, just as needed for clients who are in the local area who maybe want to accelerate. Because I say 80% of the work is what you're doing at home. Your treatments are the 20%. So for the people who are in my area or can travel to me to get maybe a microneedling, a chemical peel, I'm available, but I'm not chained to my treatment room.
Absolutely, absolutely. And of course, now you have the clients, right? So it's not like you're starting with no clients. You're starting with information, experience, a full client book, money. Like what I recommend that most people should even go into a suite with. Do you think that most estheticians should probably go virtual before even going into their first suite? If you could go back.
Low pressure,
Mm,
low to no overhead. All you're really paying for is your software.
hmm
All profit. Like
mm. All
all profit. If I could go in a time capsule and go back and whisper in my ear when I was in aesthetic school,
right.
build a social media, get ready to go virtual. And then after however so long you choose to do virtual until your numbers make sense and understand what it costs to run your business. Um, then you can decide if you want to go in person 1 day a week, 2 days a week. But it's not like I have to be in the treatment room to make money.
I literally love it. I love it. Okay, I want to take 4 questions from the chat, from the audience. If y'all have any questions for Cristina, not like about like really pricing is going to be up to you, right? So we're not asking. I'm not looking to
Mhm.
ask her directly about like any of her financial information, just more like a general. But if you have general questions about maybe like how she's been able to run this, the specific transition from suite to virtual, we'll definitely take 4 questions from the chat, and then I'll let Cristina help close us out. If anyone has any questions, I do see I'll drop some in here, but obviously like price, yeah, like you'll figure out your pricing as you go. We just want to
Mhm.
understand like how she's flowing through this. So if you do have a question, drop it in the chat. And honestly, when do you see yourself going into your suite? When is your suite opening? Where are you at in the process?
Probably by the end of this month, early August. Kind of just taking my time with it because, like I said, I want to open the suite. Don't need to open the suite. So kind of just
Mm,
enjoying my last few weeks being fully virtual, but um, working on it over like the next few weeks.
okay. And so Diana asked, can you sell professional products on Shopify?
Yes, because it's your own website.
Okay.
Hmm.
Yes. After the free consultation, I don't know. You can just say yes or no. You don't say how much. Do you charge for a follow up?
Hell yeah. Time, y'all, time is money. Okay. I
Yeah.
offer this is the way you should look at it. Your what you offer for free is your content. The content is educating. If they want to step into your world and get tailored custom advice, respectfully, you got to pay to play. They're going to
Mm,
spend the money regardless. Why not have them spend it with you? So I think shift your thinking of I'm charging for everything. Yeah, I love aesthetics, but I also value my time. So yes, for follow-ups, I do charge.
mm. What did you do about the clients you had before when you were in the suite? Was it easy to tell them you were going and leaving and going online? Well, I guess your story is different because
What
you were
clients?
right.
Girl, what clients?
That was a
I had like a
problem.
less than a handful, and
Okay.
because they were more I had a lot of one-time clients because I wasn't teaching about retail. They would just come and get the treatment. I would send them on their way, give them no aftercare, no follow-up. I didn't even have a
Mm.
business phone number, y'all. So what clients? They
Oh,
didn't care. They were not looking
what
for me.
client? She
They
said
were not
what
looking for me.
client? But if you were in a suite and you were gonna transition to going online, do you
Mhm.
think how do you think you would approach that? Maybe the best to maybe kind of answer her question, possibly.
Interesting. I mean,
Because honestly, you don't have to
mhm.
close your suite entirely. It's more
You
of
don't
a
have to. Yeah.
cushioning. You can cushion your income. The best thing about virtual is you can do this at home, right? On the day, like
Mhm.
you can cushion your income. It's about cushioning your income right now. If you're already in a suite, you don't have to say, "How do I tell my clients I'm leaving right now and they'll never see me again?" But if you do want to do that, you can still give yourself runway and let them
Mhm.
know over, I would say, like a 6 to 3 month period, like, "Hey, this is going to be happening. This is why I'm transitioning to this."
Mhm.
There's a lot of ways you can prep your clients. It's all about communication. You don't want to pull the
Communication and
rug,
education,
right?
definitely. And
You don't
educating them
want to pull the
saying
rug.
exactly, and letting them know, like, maintaining your results, continuing the progress is based on what you're doing at home. I call home care the foundation. The treatments are just a booster. So if you don't have a home care in place or a solid home care, you're not boosting anything.
Copy. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. I think that's a great way. Yeah, and of course, like you're still, and then obviously they're still gonna have access to you online. There's not gonna be getting you in
Mhm.
as much in person. But again, if you're in a suite right now, it's like you could still be like, just like as she said, she's gonna be doing maybe 2 or 3 days in suite, 2 days, and maybe you just figure out how you can transition so you're not always only in your business. Once you have a
Exactly.
suite, once you have a suite, how do you plan to manage your schedule? How many days in person versus online?
I would say I'll probably have my schedule all 5 days open. For with aesthetic record, I can choose like this day is virtual, this day is in person only, this day is both. So right now I've only been like in person on Saturdays while I make the transition into like more permanent space. But it's honestly what you decide. I feel like for me, I'm gonna have all 5 days available for either or, but I'm going to market the virtual way more.
Mm, yes,
I
I
gotta
love
get into
that.
that marketing. Yes,
I
you have
love
to.
it.
You have to sell yourself.
Yeah.
Clients buy into you first before they buy your products. So if they're bought into you, then you can sell them anything.
Absolutely. I absolutely love that. And if for someone that's just starting out in virtual aesthetics, what's one
Mhm.
thing you would tell them to do that you wish someone told you?
People don't know when you mess up. So if you're on a
Can you say that again? Say
consultation,
it again. Say it
people
again.
don't know. Only you know when you're messing up. So if you misspoke about something on a call, on a consultation, you said this product was for that. 9 times out of 10, they're not going to remember. So don't be hard on yourself. Give yourself grace to learn something new that does not have a framework. You create your framework that works for you. and just get your reps in. Honestly, practice makes perfect. Honestly.
Okay, two more questions, and then we will start closing out. Um, how would you go about transitioning to virtual aesthetics for an SC that hasn't posted in a while? I know you go live quite often. Do
Hmm.
you think that helps as well?
I think one, we got to start posting content because people buy into you when they see your content. So that way, when they come to you as a lead, the sale is a lot more seamless because they already feel like they know you. You know, we got to leverage the parasocial relationships for the good. So to start making content, think about hot topics in the skincare industry. Think about how you can educate.
Mm,
Um, and I think the education helps because they know you're not just online pushing product 24/7.
absolutely. Well
Mhm.
said. And last question from the chat. What happens when you need to drop ship products from more than one brand?
Um, that's not usually a problem I run into because like the main brand that I work with is like the I only carry like maybe two brands,
Hmm.
but both the brands that I do carry currently do drop ship. So on Shopify's back end, when you fulfill the order, you can click the products that you're fulfilling.
Mm,
So it's all in one order. Let's say I have a order from Face Reality, and then they order something from, let's say, SkinScript, for example. I'll put in the order with Face Reality, put in the order with SkinScript. When they send me the tracking numbers, I'll go fulfill the order, and then I can check. Okay, these products are in this package. Put the Face Reality tracking. This product is from these products are from SkinScript. Put the tracking. So it'll just send them two different tracking numbers,
yes. Okay. No biggie. No
and
biggie.
they
Basic.
don't check the tracking anyway.
Right.
They
As long
don't
as it gets there.
as long as they get the notification that it's shipped, they're not checking it. Like
Right.
one thing and one big advice I would give everyone who's interested in virtual aesthetics, get in ahead while it's now. Like this feels like Bitcoin back in the day before it blew up, and don't overthink it. Don't overthink it. You know what you know. Just try to help someone one level below you.
Absolutely. I honestly love that. And I know there's a lot of estheticians that are probably listening right now who are currently maybe burnt out or they're struggling in their suite and they think that they're probably the only solution is to maybe they think they chose the wrong path. They're like, okay, maybe I
You did
don't want to be an
not
esthetician. I need to pivot. And they're thinking I need to pivot out of this. So you're telling them like pivot here.
pivot your ass inside the industry. You can make money off of content. You can make a digital product. You can make money drop shipping, retail, eventually teaching. Pivot inside the industry. If something is not working right now, we'll put a
Mm,
pause on it. Just take a step to the left and try something new. But the age of the age of the internet, use it to your advantage. It's honestly the easiest money that you will ever make. It's fulfilling. You'll have majority of your time. The amount of hours that I work versus the income that I'm able to generate is way less than if I were in a suite. So now when I'm in a suite, that's the not the least important income, but I'm not relying on that income. So take your expertise digital. There's so much misinformation on the internet, specifically when it comes to skincare. Come on, show your face, educate, teach, and just make your what you're teaching digestible. Like can an everyday person understand the language that I'm using? I don't use big ass words. I say this gonna hydrate your skin, this gonna help with hyperpigmentation, even it out, texture, and then
mm,
talk to how they're experiencing whatever you specialize in. So for me, it's acne. I'll say if you wake up and you're not liking what you see in the mirror, this is what you should try X, Y, and Z. Like you gotta think about how they're experiencing their
mm.
issue versus just trying to sell. I'm never selling in my content. I'm selling myself, but I don't talk about products in my content. But at least the products that I carry. I'll talk about skincare products that I love personally, and that's how I'm able to bring in brand deals. So there's so many different avenues that you can make income from with your license. And people are automatic, even if you didn't know what you were talking about, people are automatically going to trust you more because you have that LE behind your name.
Mm, that's a bar. I
Like I
like
said,
that.
y'all get in the field, get in the field. I
Yes.
promise you, it's easier than you think. And it just kind of like snowballs.
Mm. Absolutely. I honestly thank you so much, Christina, for
You're
everything that
welcome.
you shared. Y'all drop some 777s in the chat if you feel like you learned something, you gained something, or even just like if you have more faith that this is real, like this can
I
happen.
promise y'all
This,
it's real. There's
yeah.
not many. I can only think on a handful of estheticians that are doing the virtual stuff and really, really doing it.
Mhm.
Y'all, the door is wide open.
Yes,
This,
absolutely.
yeah, this is like discovering discovering something whatever they discovered recently and it was great. This is like I said, Bitcoin. This is like this is the only industry. Your industry may be saturated locally, it's not saturated digitally, I promise you.
Yo,
I promise you.
when I tell you, when me and Christina were on the phone initially, like for like 2 hours, we were talking
We
about
really
just
hit a flow
this.
state.
We were like, why are people not? We're like, in this, and this, and you can make money like this, and then it's going. And I'm telling you, I'm so grateful I even found Christina through this. And I was like, before that, when you go search virtual aesthetics, even on YouTube, the last video was put out 4 years ago. No one's doing it. No one's doing it. Too many people are thinking about it. Not enough people are taking action. So
Mm,
Christina's here to show you that this is real life. She's here. She's out
yes.
there in Atlanta, but she's real
And
life.
I will say everything that Trinity has taught in her free community, you guys don't want to know how much I've paid for mentor. Oh, I will say this too. If you can, pay for mentorship. That's just like kind of like the fast track lane to getting to where you wanted to be. I had a mentor when I first transitioned into virtual aesthetics, but what Trinity the gems that she gives you, you don't want to know how much I paid to learn that. So take advantage of you because every post she makes, I agree with it.
Mm, no, really. That's why we entered. That's why I reached out to her. I was like, okay, you know what? She gets it. I'm like, let me go. I'm telling you, I loved our first call was amazing, and even so grateful to have you on this call. And yes, I'm telling you all these. So now that you're here, now you've heard from Christina. She said it,
I
right?
heard from the
Obviously, I'm
horse's
biased
mouth.
because I think right, but she said it. I think you should go back if you haven't taken the information from the virtual aesthetics, the free virtual aesthetics course. And obviously, I'm continuing to add to it. Like, take this as your sign. I went out and I did the digging for you. I wouldn't
She
have
really
brought it to
did.
you. I wouldn't have brought it to you if I didn't think it was everything that I think that could help you get started. So, thank you so much, Christina, for your time. I
Yes,
really,
thank
really,
you all for
really,
being here.
really
I know how
appreciate it.
Mondays can be, so thank y'all for listening to me yap. But yeah, y'all just start. All you got to do is start. You
Yeah.
can perfect it later.
And I dropped her TikTok again in the chat. I'm also going to drop it in the community. Y'all, we're about to wrap up here, but make sure you go in the community after this and tell me, make a post and tell me what was your number one takeaway? What are you feeling after this call? What are you most excited about? What do you feel like you need more information on? What do you want help with? What are you going to do next, right? We all have this, right? Don't get hyped up and go sit off and watch the final
And be
season
like,
of
I'll
Love
do it
Island.
later. Later is
Yeah.
more expensive. Do it while
Mm,
nobody's doing it, because y'all, y'all, please, please, please,
mm.
just
Yo.
start, please. Y'all, this is a gold mine. You
Mm,
get to help people. You get to help people feel confident. You're not limited to your actual location. You can help people all over the world. And then when you start, I mean, all over the U.S. specifically, but when you start carrying inventory, then you're global. Like it everything builds on top of each other. I want y'all to hear my words when you're sleeping.
mm.
Get into the virtual aesthetics.
Not in
Y'all,
their
please.
head. Yo,
Just
she's
just imagine me whispering in your ear. Please get into the virtual aesthetics. Like the game is untouched, and
yo.
this is like the opportunity of a lifetime.
Of a lifetime. I'm dropping her TikTok again as well, and I'll make sure I drop it in the chat so y'all can go follow her and stay locked in, stay tuned in. Make sure I'll drop another thank you in the chat for Christina if you really enjoyed this call, if you really got value from it. Because I don't know, maybe I should do more of this. This is like our first little podcast thing going
Mhm.
on here. So maybe y'all like this, we can
Yes.
do a little bit more, okay? But I'm of course gonna post this recording so everyone come back and watch. Make sure you go in the community. I'm gonna make sure I post this there. But I appreciate you all for attending. Christina, I really appreciate your time. I hope
Yes,
you all
thank
take this and
you.
let's run. All right, let's go make some money. Right? Let's go
Walk,
make some
don't
money.
run.
Amen.
Yes.
All right, I'll see y'all in the community. Go drop your favorite takeaway, what you learned, what you're gonna do next, what you're most excited about, and let's make it happen. Virtual aesthetics, all 2026 and beyond.
And
All right,
beyond.
bye
Have a good
everyone.
night, y'all.